Within the next 2 weeks, a decision should come on whether the U.S. will designate the Muslim Brotherhood as a foreign terrorist organization. President Trump signed an executive order to start the inquiry, and the governors of 2 states have already made the designation. Paul Petit brings us this report.
President Trump's executive order follows a lengthy report from the Institute for the Study of Global Anti-Semitism and Policy.
This is an organization that believes in murdering Jews, destroying Israel, and destroying the United States of America. This is their objective.
Institute Director Charles Asher Small stood alongside lawmakers and scholars, issuing a warning that the Brotherhood is halfway through a 100-year agenda to undermine and destroy democracy. Founded almost a century ago, the Muslim Brotherhood now operates across the Middle East. Hamas began as its Palestinian branch.
They've sponsored terrorism, murder, mayhem across the planet. They are a very negative and destructive force, and it is so important that the United States use its power and its influence to call them out for what they are.
The report points to how the Brotherhood's civilization jihad strategy infects academia by using the Muslim Students Association and Students for Justice in Palestine, the latter being a major force behind violent anti-Israel protests at Columbia University. The report claims these groups have been able to influence universities and government agencies. Dr. Small points to the election of Zohran Mamdani as New York City mayor as evidence.
He came out of SJP. He was a student activist for Students for Justice in Palestine at Bowdoin College, where he went to. And it's important for your listeners to understand that SJP comes out of AMP, American Muslims for Palestine, which is a Muslim Brotherhood-backed organization.
Trump's executive order states that Muslim Brotherhood chapters in Lebanon, Jordan, and Egypt threaten U.S. interests. Middle East analyst Dr. Mike Evans says he urged President Trump to also target Brotherhood-linked operations in Syria, Turkey, and Qatar.
Listen, the Muslim Brotherhood and Qatar, they funded and fueled terror. They fueled Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, Iran, and Hamas. So these people hate us.
Decisions by Texas and Florida governors to put the terror label on both the Muslim Brotherhood and CARE are being fought in court.
One of the founders of the Texas branch of CARE was sent to prison for 65 years for financing terrorism. The fact of the matter is there are people associated with CARE who pose a serious danger.
Given Trump's order, Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent must submit a joint report before year's end. The Brotherhood is already banned as a terror organization in Saudi Arabia, UAE, Russia, Syria, and Jordan. But the report says they continue to operate in Qatar and Turkey, funding political and media influence worldwide.
Qatar is buying favor with BBC and the CNN and other media outlets, Al Jazeera, and it's now into our political system.
Evans says a move by U.S. could cut off that influence.
It's a game changer. When you designated a terrorist organization, they have no room to move anymore. They've been able to manipulate their way through the political system. They've been able to use money and influence and lobbies, etc. All of that will change once they're exposed to the light.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has praised Trump's initiative and indicates Israel could follow with its own designation. Israel Deputy Foreign Minister Sharon Haskell told Christian and Jewish leaders that Western civilization itself is at stake.
We've seen the movements of radical jihadist groups who say very clearly that what they seek is the destruction of Western civilization as we know it today, democracy, freedom, and to replace that with an Islamist tyranny, with a jihadist imperialism, to have an Islamic rule over the world.
Paul Petit, CBN News, Jerusalem.